all I know, they could have signed a contract to replace it.
Yes, Maureen, absolutely. They could have done it without a board meeting.
And obligate us financially.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I have asked those questions and I've not gotten any answers to that. But there's a couple of other things that I wanted to add. One is I have been researching the bills that are being filed in Tallahassee. There is some grants and funding that's open for wind and hurricane mitigation. It's up to $175,000 per application. That funding may be coming down the road. There's also homesteading grants, a bill that's being filed for folks that are homesteaded to receive a $2,500 grant towards expenses, special assessments, things like that. So those are some of the things that I would be researching as part of this effort, and I would be staying on top of, which I have been, getting updates for all of those bills that are being passed in Tallahassee. It is a very complex situation. It requires significant research and input and analysis for not only financial funding, but what I call scope creep on contracting, right? You contract somebody to come in and do a new roof. People have already said that the age of the air conditioning units is old up there. We've got railroad ties. We don't know whether or not those are risks for our insurance. If there were a hurricane that came through, what are the costs to replace that? And I believe in the little bit that I do know about the current negotiations, that the electrical would all need to be replaced, the stanchions would need to be replaced. When they peel the roof back, we don't know whether or not we're going to have concrete crumbling and repairs, additional repairs that need to be done there. So we need to be able to do some risk mitigation when we plan this effort. It's not something you can just say, go get me a loan for 6% interest, and what's going to happen when we have half of the community that is not in a financial situation to pay the $5,000 assessment? Are we going to incur additional legal expenses to try to collect those special assessments? How much is that going to cost us? So there's a whole lot of financial considerations, as well as research into what the return on investment is for a new roof. Like Tony said, if you get a new roof, in 2 years, you're going to be right back where you are right now, having to maintain it for $30,000 a year and continuing to replace it. Are there other...
Bear in mind, there's no guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, are there other solutions? Could we spray the roof? I mean, so we really need to do our due diligence, and we need to look at all of these questions before we jump in and make a decision. And the roof is just one of many capital investments that we need to take a look at. So back to what, Dennis had said, we need a strategic plan, and we need to have these community meetings where we're looking at our finances at the end of every month to give you a variance report to tell you where we are against budget, right? How much do we have? How much is it going to cost us to maintain and continue to go forward? Are we spending our money in the right areas? Are we thrifty enough to afford the opportunities to make these major investments? So it's not something that we're going to solve tonight. It's going to require special focused meetings with special experts to come in and take a look at all of the considerations. Thank you for the time.
May I ask Maureen a question? You seem informed, Maureen. Are you aware that DeSantis, I've heard this, but I don't have any paperwork on it, but he's talking about not requiring reserves for buildings that are under 6 floors?
Yeah, yes, they are looking at that right now, but there is something that
out there.
there is something also that you need to be aware of. Regardless of the height of your building, if your capital investment is more than $10,000, you need to include it in your structural integrity reserves. And next year, we're not going to have an opportunity to reduce the amount that we're funding in our structural integrity reserves, which means that we have to be 100% accurate in that reserve study. And that's another thing that I'll be taking a look at is what do we have to do to check the validity of that study and potentially file a new study.
Thank you. Oh man, I learned so much from you tonight. Thank you, Maureen.
You're welcome.
She's on the ball. Well, she's on the ball, and
To research.
and she wants the questions answered,
Yeah.
and they're not getting answered. So
Wow.
this is why we're here. This is why we want to be here and make a difference.
Any other
say for
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody else on Zoom. I don't see it on screen.
Okay, if nobody else would like to say, it's 8:30, we have, we're gonna end the meeting.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
So other words, we're gonna have more of these, we're gonna have one next week, we're gonna really run until the election
And
April
you all
1st.
are running for, I didn't give you leaders, you're running for the board.
Yes.
Yes.
Who else? You three, there's five.
There's,
Maureen.
Maureen, Dennis, Ray, me, and,
David.
Oh, David, okay. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
Jamie, just make sure that you mention that there will be other people that are running, they're just not on our slate. They don't have the same interests.
We don't know who they are, because they don't have to tell us until 14 days out.
Oh, okay, that's right. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have
Yeah,
a
you're
great
welcome.
night.
Thanks for helping.
Thanks, folks.
No, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate your questions.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your night.